What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me today. You're listening to Average Discussion. Thank you for joining me here in Studio F350. Today is Thursday, April 11th, 2024. It's about 66 degrees here just outside the Salt Lake City area. For historical records for when the end is over here and, 10,000 years from now, they find our civilization, and the only thing that they can find for evidence of our past is this fabulous podcast. For historical reasons, you can charge people about $3.85 per gallon in the Utah area, in the Salt Lake City area, for regular unleaded gasoline. For diesel fuel, you can charge us about $3.75. So right now, it's more beneficial for me to drive a diesel around. That's not why I drove it, but nonetheless, that's the case. I hope everybody's doing great today. Like I said, here it's a pretty nice day here, pretty warm. 66 is going to feel really cold here soon, but right now that's a heat wave, guys. It's hot. Turn your ACs on. But anyway, it's that time of year. That's how it goes. So, hey, I'm glad you're with me. I hope you enjoyed, all the previous shows, especially the one yesterday, day before that, and the one before that. So, I hope you're enjoying it. I'm glad you're around. Let's get right into it. If you weren't aware, the juice is no longer on the loose, guys. O.J. Simpson passed away this morning at the age of 76 from cancer. Lots of memes going around. I don't know. I don't know if he did or didn't do it. Don't really care, to be honest with you. But, he does have kids of his own and stuff, so I feel for them. They just lost their father. But I can't say that I'm super heartbroken by it. Yeah. And, here's the thing, right? Like, thankfully, that's a terrible way of phrasing it, but, his passing, gave news media something to do. I was seeing they were playing some of their old footage of the Bronco chase, where he's driving like 10 miles an hour or whatever down the highway. Yeah, super crazy. I guess they had nothing else to talk about besides the same stuff they've been talking about for 5 years. Over in Vietnam, though, it says Vietnam Tycoon sentenced to death in $12 billion fraud case. Now, I looked into this one. This one's pretty interesting. So, a court in Vietnam sentenced real estate tycoon Trong My Lan. I don't know if I said that right. They sentenced her Thursday to death over her role in a 304 trillion dong, which is equivalent to $12.46 billion financial fraud case. The country's biggest on record, state media reported. Her trial began on March 5th and ending earlier than planned was one dramatic result of a campaign against corruption that the leader of the ruling Communist Party, Nguyen Phu Trong, that's weird. Oh no, it's not the same name. Not the same name. Just looks very similar. Has pledged for years to stamp out. Corruption is so widespread that in some provinces, many people say the pay bribes. Holy cow, Chris. Learn how to read. It's been a long day. Corruption is so widespread that in some provinces, many people say they pay bribes just to obtain medical services in public hospitals, according to a recent survey by the UN Development Program and other organizations. Now, the reason I put this in there is that is absolutely crazy. They charged this woman sentenced her to die for, if I recall correctly, it was like real estate fraud. Meanwhile, we let people who commit fraud just go into other sectors of finance, and like, that's cool. Like, what would we put, like 2 people behind bars? Not even the ones that probably should have been. I don't know. Crazy. Sentence them to die. But in more financial corruption, European police seized Lamborghinis and Rolexes over alleged $650 million COVID-19 fraud. That's right. So police have arrested 22 people and seized assets worth more than 600 million euro, which is equivalent to about $650 million, in connection with alleged fraud linked to the European Union's post-pandemic recovery fund. Now, after an investigation by the EU prosecutor, 8 people were detained, 14 were placed under house arrest, and 2 others were barred from practicing their profession. The arrest took place in Italy, Austria, Romania, and Slovakia. The Italian financial police on Thursday said it seized Lamborghinis, Porsches, Rolexes, Cartier jewelry, cryptocurrencies, luxury villas, and other items during dozens of raids on homes and offices. The alleged fraud is likely to renew concerns about the misuse of EU's €800 billion recovery fund to help revive the bloc's economy. Italy was the largest beneficiary of the fund, with grants more than €194 billion. Now, the European Public Prosecutor's Office said a criminal organization is suspected of running a fraud scheme between 2021 and 2023 to swindle Italy's recovery packages. In 2021, the group applied to receive non-payable grants. The EPPO said to support small and medium-sized companies, but later cooked up false balance sheets to show that the companies were active and profitable, whereas in fact they were non-active, fictitious companies. Now, after getting a hold of some €600 million in funds from the Italian National Recovery and Resilience Plan, NRRP, the group then transferred the funds to their bank accounts in Austria, Romania, Slovakia, the EPPO said. So the prosecutor's office claimed the group used cryptocurrencies, artificial intelligence, and offshore cloud servers to carry out and conceal the fraud. The United States has also attempted to crack down on alleged fraud involving COVID-19 relief resources. A federal watchdog warned in June that the Small Business Administration distributed more than $200 billion in potentially fraudulent post-pandemic funds. I mean, that's a true crisis, that's $200 billion we could have sent to Ukraine, you know what I mean? Only reason I read this article out is because I wanted to highlight the fact that clearly a lot of already wealthy, successful people benefited even more from destroying the lives of those underneath. So go government. Good job. And I want to say that I feel like their heart was in the right place when they did all these things. And I understand that there was probably businesses that really needed that kind of stuff that actually used it appropriately, right? But that's a hard pill to swallow after finding out some stuff like that, I don't know. It's super annoying. Like I said, it's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. And I think it just adds to more of the discontent that I think is becoming more and more popular in terms of the way people view their governments, right? They view their governments as shady, corrupt industries. And I get it. These were corporations, right? But I also feel like it was pretty well known that people said that this kind of stuff was going to happen, right? I remember after, I don't remember it too vividly, but I remember after, President Obama's bailouts and stuff, right? Like they showed all the companies and how the people were going on like these private vacations that but apparently their company was going under and they needed all this money, right? And so there was all those things coming out showcasing that type of stuff. And so I feel like, if I remember correctly, when this started kind of happening, they were talking about giving out these business loans to keep the economies going and this and that. Like everybody warned against that. And, perhaps to be fair, maybe it was one of those things like, yes, we know that this is going to happen, but it's going to help so many more other people that we need to just do it anyways and then deal with those consequences later, right? Perhaps that's what happened. And I don't know that that's necessarily a bad plan of action, right? Because if there's one thing about people is that most of us do the right thing, but then there's those portions of us that try to exploit it, right? And I would argue that most of those people are in business. And the only lousy thing about it is that all this effort to maintain those businesses, it doesn't trickle down to actually benefit the people who have to pay for it. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I don't know how you guys feel, but whatever. So listen, if you're thinking about going to Australia to, get away from the drug world, I got some bad news for you. Turns out Mexican drug gangs increasingly targeting Australia as meth supplies overtake rivals, police say. That's really methed up. Really methed up, guys. Really methed up. All right, so the drug cartels from North America have overtaken rivals in Southeast Asia to become Australia's top supplier of methamphetamine, police said, warning that Mexican gangs are increasingly targeting the country. Now, the Australian Federal Police and overseas authorities seized 23.6 tons of North American-produced meth bound for Australia in the 2022 to 2023 financial year, the AFP said in a statement last week. Product from Mexico, the United States, and Canada now makes up at least 70% of the meth found in Australia. Police have estimated, meanwhile, Southeast Asian meth fell to less than 15% of seizures of the drug and highly addictive, potent stimulant. It's probably because they went to fentanyl. I'm just saying. They've moved on to bigger and better things to kill more people. Meth is really methed up, don't get me wrong. Not suggesting that it's a better alternative. Okay, all I'm saying is that I think that's probably why they've moved on. Police did not specify the exact amount originating from Mexico, but warned Mexican cartels are increasingly targeting Australia. I feel like you should have to, you should probably tell us what that amount is, because maybe they're not really big ballers like that, and it's really just American people, American drug gangs selling that stuff there. You know what I mean? Like, maybe for once we're the bad guys. I feel like you should have to put that out there. I'm not sure. Australia remains an enticing market for organized crime groups who exploit our people to derive large profits, Police Commander Jared Taggart said in the statement. While cannabis remains the most common illegal drug consumed in the country by a large margin, the use of meth and amphetamine, another nerve stimulant, has risen among younger drug users, according to the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare. Last year, the Australian Capital Territory decriminalized possession of small amounts of hard drugs, meaning people caught with the substance face fines and counseling rather than jail terms, while Queensland introduced a 3-strike system. These states have effectively put up the open for business sign in the criminal cartels in relation to drug market, said somebody from their country. Criminologist John Fitzgerald from the University of Melbourne said the surge may have been caused by a drug dump, with supplies from North America drug cartels to Europe hamstrung by Russia's war in Ukraine and other factors. So they didn't know where else to take it, so they just took it to Australia. Sounds like a feasible option. It's not like there's an ocean to cross again with it, so I don't know. Maybe, but perhaps. Maybe they just had to get rid of it. I don't know. Very interesting. And don't say that us Americans don't have any culture, all right? We're mething up the world, I'll tell you what. All right, so consumer prices move higher in March. Auto insurance costs were a major reason. Few categories had as big a jump on year to year. Holy cow. Brr, it's really hot in here. I got the windows up to try to avoid some of the sound. This is not going to be a reasonable option come summertime. I can tell you that much right now. But for right now, I will suffer through it. I'll suffer through it for you guys. All right. Few categories had as big a jump year on year than auto insurance, which soared 22% from March 2023, the most significant year on year jump in the category since 1976. And over the last few years, average auto insurance rates have surged 43%. As of April, the national average cost of car insurance is $2,314 per year for full coverage and $644 per year for the bare minimum, according to Bank Rate. Now, that's also assuming that's the only car you're doing it on. I'm telling you, I have too many cars, but I've got multiple cars on my policy. Two of them? No, 3 of them have full coverage, while 1 has liability. It's ridiculous. That works out to about $193 a month for full coverage and $54 for minimum coverage. Yeah, again, if you're only insuring 1 car. A host of factors determine how much insurance companies charge drivers, but the cost of nearly all of them seem to be increasing. One major fact is simply the rising cost of modern vehicles themselves. Today, a new vehicle costs about $10,000 more than it did before the pandemic. Blame supply chain issues that drove up the cost of vehicle parts, increased labor costs, and customer demand, which has naturally pushed prices upward. The increasing sophistication and technology in today's vehicles also contributes to rising costs, says Robert Passmore, Department of Vice President of Personal Lines of American Property Casualty Insurance Association. Why do we have to name things like this? Cameras and sensors, which are used for various driver assistance technologies like emergency braking, automated parking, and blind spot monitoring, require parts that are more expensive to replace. They are also subject to a higher labor cost. Oh, boo, BS. Nope, sorry. I'm calling bullshit right there. Because I've wrecked cars before. I've seen the quotes, and they were ridiculously overpriced anyways. So nope, I'm sorry. I'm calling bullshit. You're just coming up with reasons to try to justify the fact that why you are robbing people out of more money for something that they don't even have an option to have because it's a legal requirement to have it. So let's talk about that, right? We don't want to talk about that. More complex and expensive repairs are also taking longer, and that shows up as higher vehicle costs, Passmore said, and worker shortages have resulted in higher pay for technicians. Higher pay. That's weird. Meanwhile, the higher cost of buying a vehicle has prompted some drivers to hold on to their existing cars for longer. As vehicles age, the likelihood of breakdowns rises, increasing the demand for repair services, said Sarah House, managing director and senior economist at Wells Fargo. I'm sure she's done a plethora of research. Insurers are trying to recoup very costly claims, House said. Yeah, I'm sure they are. Other factors are at work, too. According to the Insurance Information Institute, which represents insurance companies and the insurance industry, the severity of claims, including the medical and litigation costs that arise in claims disputes, are also on the rise. In the years immediately after the outset of the COVID-19 pandemic, insurance companies took large losses, due in part to an increase in bad driver behaviors. There it is. It's our fault. It's all us. It's not anything, I don't know. As a result, they have pushed state regulators, who determine how high rates can go to allow them to charge higher premiums while, in some cases, threatening to leave states entirely if they don't. So, though we realize that this is a scam and we've set a limit on what you can charge people, you're going to leave the state if we don't. I say let them go. Let's let them all go and let's see what happens. They're only bullying you because they have the capital to bully you. If they didn't have that capital gain and knowing that it's a federal law that people have to have this and they're going to buy into it, I'm just saying, let's take that off the table and see how bold these guys are, right? Because I get what they're saying. The cost of everything has gone up. I understand that. I totally 100% understand that. But let's be real about what some of our problems are. The bad news is there is no end in sight to the cost pressures. Insurance companies filed for rate increases throughout the end of 2023, and at the start of this year, Bankrate analyst Shannon Martin said in an email, because such rate changes hit auto policies only upon renewal, U.S. drivers are just starting to feel the impact. So that's why it's all coming to a crash at the end. And it's expected to be that way through 2024, guys. So there's that for you if you were unaware of all the things. What did I do? Nope, not that. Sorry, guys. If you were unaware of that, that's why. It's our fault. It's our fault that it's our bad driving habits. That's why they got to charge us more money. I'm not saying people don't have bad driving habits. Arguably, I have bad driving habits of my own. And I'm going to try to wrap this up here pretty quick, guys, because I'm trying to pick my daughter up from school. So there's going to be a lot more traffic. You'll probably hear some more stuff in the background. I do apologize about that. But again, if you want to pay me some money, I'll go rent a studio out, I promise. But if you don't, if you just like listening to it, which I'm perfectly fine with that as well, then you're going to have to deal with some traffic, all right? So don't judge me for being one of those guys recording a podcast on my cell phone in my truck. I'm sorry I don't have one of those fancy studios where you guys can look at all the cool pictures on the wall and watch the videos. I don't have that. All right. So, whatever. I think I told you guys about that, right? The article that I read, that said, that like, what's a list of things you shouldn't do if you're starting a podcast? And one person was like, think your phone's a suitable recording device. I'd like to punch those people. Anyways, I totally lost my train of thought. It is hot in here. Do not leave your kids in the car, okay, with the windows up. This is miserable, and it's only 66 degrees. Okay, I am literally sweating. This is terrible. I'm going to have to take a drink. That's how bad this is. This is stupid. Who let the sun out? Can we get the eclipse again? I'm still waiting for my oceanfront property, damn it. Oh, I don't know what the rules are in terms of like talking about like products and stuff. You know, like I don't know what the rules are, so hopefully I don't get sued for this. But I do know, like, I see people that, like, I watch certain YouTube videos and they're like, they put tape over the labels or whatever so they don't get hit for copyright thing, which would be the weirdest thing to me. Like, why would a company care? You know, it's advertising. You know? As long as I don't say I'm the one making it, what do you care, right? But anyways, have you guys ever thought about this? And maybe it's just me. I don't think that Sprite tastes the same since they went to these clear bottles. I don't think it's the same shit, man. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. I don't feel like it's the same stuff. It's okay. It's good enough, but I don't feel like it's got the same kick to it that it had when it was in the green tinted bottles. Call me crazy. But that's how I feel. I think the cans still taste the same as the cans always did. But these bottles, I'm telling you, it's different stuff, man. I'm telling you. Convince me otherwise. Because I don't buy it. But anyways, these insurance companies, I always find it funny that like everything is blamed back on us. Oh, I was talking about bad driving habits, right? Like arguably I probably have some too. But I'll tell you what, with all my bad driving habits, I'm not causing accidents and I'm not hitting people. So is it maybe just too much congestion because of the way we've developed our cities? You know, if you live out where I live, pretty much everybody has to commute into Salt Lake to find decent jobs that pay a livable wage to sustain a family off of. And if you're not driving out there, you're waking up stupid early in the morning to drive out to the middle of the desert, and that's going to cause problems. That's dangerous in itself. So, is it really driving habits, or is it just piss poor planning on development? Right? Like everything's based around the idea of transportation. Sorry guys, I hit the wrong button. Everything's based around the idea of transportation, right? Like we've literally built our societies and our cities and to be feasible via vehicle motor traffic, right? And we've determined that, you know, for liability reasons for the banks, because they give us the loans, we got to have insurance, which I kind of get, right? Like it is their property until I pay it off. And they don't want to inherit a piece of crap. I kind of get that, right? I'm not saying I necessarily think it's a all around bad thing, but I do believe that if you own it outright, it's on you. Right? So, you know, the fact that we legally have to have the stuff is, in my opinion, it's a scam. It's a scam, and they can control, clearly they can control how much they let them charge, which I was unaware of that. That was news to me. But apparently they can control how much they can charge us. And I don't know, it just, for the amount of money that I paid into insurance, I don't feel like I've got my damn money's worth, right? And I constantly have to pay more because there's other people out there that got to wreck their shit, right? Or some freak of nature thing happens and everybody puts in a claim because their car is now 12 feet underwater, right? Like those types of things, which are happening more and more frequently, right? Or, you know, just stuff like that. It adds up, and I don't feel like I've ever got my money's worth, and so therefore I think it's stupid. Okay, that's how I feel. I think it's stupid. It's like me having to register my car with the state that I fucking paid for, so that I can have permission to drive on the roads that we all chip in to pay for, so that I can have the privilege of operating the vehicle that I fucking bought, that I paid them taxes on, that I then had to turn around and register, which is pretty much a tax. It's a yearly tax. A yearly tax for the privilege. I don't know. Call me crazy, but I think there's something messed up with that kind of stuff, man. I think that there's a lot wrong with that kind of stuff, and I'm not a fan of it. I don't support it. I probably never will. I'm going to pay it because I don't feel like going through the headache of trying to fight with these people for something I know that's not going to happen, because there's so many people that are just like, the government knows what's best for us. If we don't do it this way, how are we going to have roads? Right? They don't see any other option except for the one that's been presented to them, is all I'm saying. There's more ways to skin a cat, right? In my mind, there's more ways to pave a road. So, eat that. I gotta be careful. I was gonna say like Karen, but I don't want to use something that's already been coined by other people. And I was gonna say something else, but then I was like, I don't really know my listening base, and I don't want to say somebody's name and them think I'm actually talking about them. So that was a weird pause for me. I don't know. What do you guys think about that kind of stuff, though? That shit pisses me off. Beyond, it really irritates me more than I can really describe. But you know what? For final thoughts, let's get back to what I was talking about with leaving your kids in the car. Don't do that shit. Holy cow, this is terrible. I mean, at least crack the windows. Good Lord. I am dying. I'm fucking dying in here. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can take a picture without messing up the recording. Okay, well, it did mess up the recording, but I'm good. I can keep it going. So I took a picture so that I'll put it up on the socials so you guys can see. Like, I'm sweating my ass off in here. It's absolutely crazy. But, yeah, don't leave your kids in the car. And if you do leave your kids in the car, at least be mature enough to admit that you were stupid instead of saying stuff like, I didn't even know that they were there. How did I forget them? I've never forgotten my fucking kids. I'm sorry. I may have forgot things, like, that's not true. Maybe I have forgotten my kids. I'm trying to think of it. I did lose track of time a few times when I was supposed to pick up like my kids. That has happened. But I've never done like a Home Alone thing. And I've definitely never just been like, oh, I forgot my baby was in the back seat. And it's 110 degrees outside. I'm telling you right now, don't do that shit. Holy hell. It is 66 degrees. I've been in here with the windows up for about a half hour now. And I'm dying. I am literally, this is terrible. I mean, I'll be okay, but holy shit, don't do that. It's terrible. Anyways, that's going to be my final thoughts. Like, don't leave your dogs, crack the windows for your animals especially. But for your kids, like, just don't even fucking do it, man. Like, jeez Louise, this is terrible. Don't do it. It's bad. It's bad. Don't do it. Don't forget your kids. Grow up. I'm going to leave final thoughts with that. I feel like that's enough. And I try to keep these short anyways. At least I'm trying to keep them short. So we'll just go ahead and end with that because I need to roll the windows down. And my daughter will be out of school here in just a few minutes anyways. So get this bad boy cooled down in here. Holy smokes. I was thinking to myself, I need to find a sauna, like I miss going to the sauna and being able to sweat out some of the crap. And no, I think I figured it out. I'm just going to sit in the damn truck for 30 minutes. That should get all the toxins out of your system. I don't know. I don't even know where the nearest sauna is, actually. That's what sucks. Like, there's a lot of perks to living in smaller areas, don't get me wrong, but that's one of the things that, like, you find all these random things that, just kind of sucks not to have. And then somebody will be like, well, how'd you just build one? Because I don't want to, okay? Damn. I'm fine paying somebody money to let me use a sauna. Just because you're not doesn't mean I hate getting into that argument. It doesn't mean the end of everything. It doesn't have to, at least, I think people just associate that, but I don't know. That's a whole nother podcast that I don't have the hydration level to do right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and call this a day. So, hey, where can you find me? You can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/average discussion. Instagram, average discussion. X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm on X, baby, at AVG discussion. Okay. Head over there, especially if you got a Twitter account. I'm going to try to do those spaces things in the live episodes. But I'm going to take advantage of this weekend and I'm going to do something with my family. That I don't know that I'm going to have the chance to do again for a while. So I'm going to take advantage of that. So I'm definitely not going to do anything with it this weekend. I'll hit the ground running again next week, hopefully with a better hydration level to where I'm not sweating in the car. This is stupid. But yeah, anyway, so go over to X, follow me there. I'm going to try with the Spaces thing, and then I'll try the live thing again probably sometime next week. Again, Monday through Thursday are the days that I'm trying to do this. Obviously, I failed Monday and Tuesday this week, but Monday through Thursday is the days that I'm trying to do this. They will be uploaded at 4 p.m. on Spreaker, Spotify. I think there is a delay, so it's probably like 4:15-ish to 4:30 on everything except for Spreaker. So if you want it right at 4 o'clock, you're going to have to go to Spreaker, my guy. You're going to have to follow the show so that it'll alert you when I drop a new episode, okay? So if you want it right at 4, you're going to have to go to Spreaker. But everywhere else, it should be on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and YouTube, okay? So head over there, check those things out, follow them, get my numbers pumped up. You ain't got to listen to them on all of them. If you want to, I fully support that. Go listen to the show 5 different times. I'm cool with that. Maybe you'll pick out things that you maybe didn't hear me say, or maybe that I said that were completely ignorant or stupid. I got all that. If you want to reach out to me directly, with your bitches, gripes, complaints, death threats, because I'd hate for your death threat to get lost somewhere in one of the platforms I don't regularly check, okay? So if you want me to get it right away so that you can have it done in a timely manner, you can email me directly at averagediscussion@gmail.com. That's all one word, averagediscussion@gmail.com. Yeah, I think that's it. So, hey, as always, guys, please take care of yourself. Please take care of each other. And until next time, I'm out.